Friends, in human history, it is a rare privilege to exercise the opportunity to vote or to participate in the governing of your own country. In centuries past, those privileges were reserved for people who inherited it through the bloodstream. It was reserved for kings and nobility, and often reserved for them if they had the strongest or the luckiest army. But in the United States of America, we operate with the understanding that might does not make right. Here, everyone has the right to participate in the governing of their own lives. Back in 1638, the famed gospel minister and founder of Connecticut, Thomas Hooker, stood before an assembly of the young colony and delivered a famous speech simply called the Election Sermon. In that sermon, Thomas Hooker gave a couple of biblical lessons on exercising the right to vote. The first thing he said was the choice of public magistrates belongs unto the people by God's own allowance. What he's saying is that God gave citizens the responsibility to choose their leaders. Way back in Deuteronomy 1:13, this truth was revealed this way: choose wise and understanding and knowledgeable men from among the tribes, and I will make them heads over you. And even later, when Israel transitioned to a limited monarchy, the Israelites still needed to confirm the king as their ruler, and we see that in 1 Samuel, and in 2 Kings, and in 2 Chronicles. In the same way today, even though we are not Israel, exercising your right to vote is a sacred duty. Samuel Adams said, "Let every citizen remember, at the moment he is offering his vote, that he is executing one of the most solemn trusts in human society, for which he is accountable to God and to his country." The second thing Dr. Hooker said was this: the privilege of election, which belongs to the people, must not be exercised according to their humors, but according to the blessed will and law of God. What he is saying is we're not to choose leaders based on their own subjective preference or our preference. Instead, we should look at civil officers and choose them based on the qualifications God set forth in Scripture. These characteristics are listed in Exodus chapter 18, specifically in verse 21, which says, "Moreover, you should select from all the people able men, such as fear God, men of truth, who hate covetousness." Now, there are 4 biblical qualifications here. First of all, they need to be capable, able men. They need to be God-fearing. They need to understand that they are not the ruler of all things, God is. They need to be trustworthy, and they need to hate covetousness or dishonest gain. That should guide the way they vote. Thomas Hooker taught the people of Connecticut that God had given them the responsibility to choose who they would entrust with the weighty responsibilities that accompany public office. Likewise, we should make sure that we exercise our sacred duty wisely and biblically this election season. Early voting in the Wyoming primaries will begin toward the end of the month of July. In the upcoming weeks, Wyoming Family Alliance will release something we've worked very hard to provide you, and it's an evidence-based voter guide where you can objectively measure your candidates for office and make the most informed decision. Soon you will find that in our resources, or in the coming weeks, you can go directly to wyovoterguide.com. That's wyovoterguide.com, and you'll find this wonderful resource that I believe will help you make the most informed decision on who will best represent you and also the values we stand on. Thank you so much.